Picture this: a person with a dazzling smile, a voice so smooth it could convince anyone to trust them. They're polite, charming, and make you feel completely at ease. They could be the person sitting next to you on the bus or the one who greets you at a party. But here's the terrifying reality. Behind that smile, they could be harboring the traits of a dangerous criminal. How do we identify these dangerous individuals? Is it possible to spot them before they strike? The chilling truth is many of history's most notorious criminals didn't look like criminals at all. In fact, they often appear to be the kind of person you want to be friends with. But as we'll explore in this video, these criminals share certain disturbing traits that, if we know what to look for, could give us a better chance at identifying danger before it's too late. In today's video, we're diving deep into the common traits shared by some of history's most infamous criminals. From the charming manipulator to the cold-blooded psychopath, let's unravel the secrets that allowed these criminals to deceive, manipulate, and even murder without remorse. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Mystery Junkie for more true crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Imagine meeting someone who could talk their way into any situation. They don't just make friends, they make people trust them instantly. You know the type, the person who walks into a room and somehow becomes the center of attention without even trying. Now, imagine that person isn't just charming, they're a killer. History is full of criminals who use their charm as a weapon. Ted Bundy, one of the most notorious serial killers in American history, is a prime example. Bundy was a smooth talker, intelligent, and attractive. He used these traits to lure young women into his grasp before brutally murdering them. His charm was so effective that even after his arrest, many people found it hard to believe he could be capable of such horrific acts. The question is, how did he pull it off? How did someone like Ted Bundy manage to deceive so many people? The answer lies in his ability to mask his true nature behind the perfect facade. But Bundy wasn't the only one. Other criminals like Charles Manson and John Wayne Gacy used charm to manipulate their followers and victims. What is it about a charming, charismatic person that makes them so dangerous? Have you ever met someone who seemed to lack any empathy? They don't feel bad when they hurt someone, and they never seem to care about the consequences of their actions. This trait is one of the most frightening signs of a criminal mastermind. Psychopathy and sociopathy are often linked to criminal behavior, and many of history's most notorious criminals exhibit these traits. Psychopaths and sociopaths can be charming, but the difference is that they don't feel guilt or remorse for their actions. They might commit heinous acts and still sleep soundly at night. They view others as mere tools to achieve their goals, and they have no hesitation about using manipulation or violence to get what they want. Take the case of Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker. Ramirez terrorized Southern California in the 1980s, committing a series of murders, burglaries, and assaults. He showed no remorse for his actions and even reveled in the terror he caused. What made him even more chilling was his complete lack of empathy. Ramirez didn't care who he hurt, as long as he got what he wanted. His ability to commit such horrific crimes without a second thought is a hallmark of psychopathy. But why do some people have no empathy? Could it be a biological factor? Or is it the result of early life experiences? Theories vary, but one thing is clear. Without empathy, criminals like Ramirez are free to destroy lives without the burden of guilt. Many of history's most notorious criminals are driven by an overwhelming need for power and control. For them, committing crimes isn't just about causing harm. It's about asserting dominance over others. This need for control often manifests in violent and sadistic ways. John Wayne Gacy, known as the Killer Clown, is a prime example of this. Gacy was a successful businessman who hid his dark secret behind a clown costume, performing at children's parties. But beneath the mask, Gacy was a sadistic killer who tortured and murdered young boys. His need for control over his victims was evident in the way he lured them, manipulated them, and ultimately killed them. Gacy's desire for power wasn't just limited to his victims. It extended to the people around him. He often exerted control over his employees and his family, creating an atmosphere of fear and manipulation. It's this need for dominance that made Gacy's crimes so chilling. He wasn't just killing for pleasure. He was killing to prove his power over life and death. But why do some people have this insatiable need for control? Is it the result of deep-seated insecurities, or does it stem from a desire to feel powerful in a world where they otherwise feel powerless? A common theme in the lives of many notorious criminals is a traumatic or abusive childhood. While not all criminals come from troubled backgrounds, a significant number do. The impact of childhood trauma, whether it's physical abuse, neglect, or exposure to violence, can have a profound effect on a person's psyche. Take Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer had a deeply troubled childhood. He was often neglected by his parents and struggled with loneliness and isolation. As a teenager, he began to engage in disturbing behaviors such as killing animals. These early warning signs were ignored, and over time, Dahmer's violent tendencies escalated into a series of horrific murders. Dahmer's case raises an important question. Can childhood trauma create a monster, or does it merely set the stage for a person to act on pre-existing tendencies? Many experts believe that the combination of nature and nurture plays a significant role in shaping criminal behavior. One of the most disturbing aspects of notorious criminals is their apparent enjoyment of violence. For some, committing murder is not just about achieving a goal. It's about experiencing a rush of power, excitement, and satisfaction. This is particularly true for serial killers, who often commit their crimes over an extended period of time. The infamous case of the Zodiac Killer serves as a chilling example of this. The Zodiac Killer taunted police and the media, sending cryptic letters and even calling in to take credit for his murders. What's most unsettling is that the Zodiac Killer seemed to enjoy the chaos and fear he caused. He wasn't just killing to fulfill a need or desire. He was killing for the thrill of it. But what drives someone to kill for enjoyment? Is it a psychological disorder? Or is it something deeper, perhaps a thirst for fame and recognition? The idea that some criminals derive pleasure from the pain of others is one of the most unsettling aspects of true crime. Manipulation is a common trait among history's most notorious criminals. They know how to deceive others, hide their true intentions, and make people believe their lies. This skill of manipulation often allows criminals to continue their reign of terror undetected, sometimes for years. Take the case of Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of the failed tech company Theranos. Holmes built a multi-billion-dollar company based on the lie that she had developed a revolutionary blood testing technology. She used her charm and charisma to convince investors, doctors, and the public that her company was on the cutting edge of medical science. But in reality, it was all a scam. Holmes is an example of a criminal who didn't commit violent acts, but instead used manipulation and deception to cause harm on a massive scale. She exploited the trust of countless individuals, all while maintaining a perfectly crafted image of a brilliant entrepreneur. What makes people believe such manipulations? How do criminals like Holmes convince others that their lies are the truth? It's a frightening reminder that deception can be just as dangerous as physical violence. So, what have we learned from the stories of these notorious criminals? One thing is clear. They all share certain traits that allow them to blend into society, manipulate others, and commit horrific crimes without detection. Whether it's their charm, lack of empathy, or need for control, these criminals were able to deceive the public and continue their reign of terror for far longer than they should have. The question remains, can we spot these traits before it's too late? Is it possible to recognize a criminal before they strike? Or are we all just too trusting of the people around us? The answer isn't simple, but one thing is for sure. We must be vigilant, aware, and always question what's beneath the surface. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Mystery Junkie will continue to bring you deep dives into the world's most chilling criminals with the kind of in-depth analysis you won't find anywhere else. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there. As we've seen throughout this exploration of history's most notorious criminals, the common traits they share are both chilling and unsettling. These individuals, whether they are charming manipulators, callous psychopaths, or violent control seekers, carry within them characteristics that allow them to hide in plain sight, often deceiving those around them until it's too late. The key to understanding these criminals lies in recognizing the traits they share. Charisma, for example, is a dangerous weapon when wielded by someone without empathy. It's not just about being charming. It's about using that charm to manipulate, deceive, and control. When you combine this with a lack of conscience or guilt, you have someone capable of unspeakable acts, like Ted Bundy, whose charm allowed him to lure innocent victims to their deaths. But it's not just about being manipulative. Many of these criminals share a profound need for power and control. Whether it's the brutal killings of John Wayne Gacy or the violent escapades of Richard Ramirez, the desire to dominate others is a driving force for many of history's most infamous criminals. For them, murder isn't just a means to an end. It's about asserting control, experiencing power, and satisfying an insatiable need to manipulate those around them. Another significant factor is the childhood trauma that shapes so many of these killers. The early experiences of abuse, neglect, or emotional isolation can often set the stage for violent behavior later in life. Jeffrey Dahmer's disturbing childhood and lack of support may have planted the seeds for his later acts, while Richard Ramirez's turbulent upbringing contributed to his descent into madness. Though not all criminals come from abusive backgrounds, many of the most notorious ones do, serving as a painful reminder that early intervention can sometimes prevent a lifetime of destruction. Ultimately, the question remains, can we truly spot these criminals before they strike? While some of these traits are detectable, the reality is that many of them blend so seamlessly into society that it's difficult to tell who is hiding darkness beneath the surface. Our best defense is to stay vigilant, aware, and skeptical of anyone who tries too hard to make us trust them. The stories of these criminals are a stark reminder of the complexities of human nature. They show us that evil can take many forms, often hiding in plain sight. If we learn to recognize the warning signs and question the motives of those around us, we may just stand a better chance at preventing future tragedies. Stay safe, stay aware, and never forget that sometimes the most dangerous people look just like anyone else. Thank you for watching Mystery Junkie. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping stories and deep dives into the world of true crime.